are officially in October. Spooky season. And as much as I'd like to pretend I'm gonna spend this month carving pumpkins and discovering new Halloween movies, in reality, I'll be rewatching Scream for the 80th time and figuring out how to fit 3 months of working out into 3 weeks so I can finally be the I'm a Slave for You Britney Spears costume. Spoiler alert, I won't figure it out, and I'm positive it'll be another group costume. While I don't discourage anyone from doing a group costume, it lets people know you're still fun, and gosh darn it, people like ya. I do discourage people from playing Ouija boards. This might seem like the game for you, or you think you're immune to entities, but let me tell you something, you aren't. Ouija boards are the wrong kind of wild. What's the purpose of a Ouija board? The purpose is to make contact with the great beyond, have a catch up with the dead. You want to have a scary movie experience and live to tell about it. But when you mess with a Ouija board, you run the risk of opening a portal, making contact, and then having no way of letting whatever you just let out back through to wherever they came from. So what happens then, huh? They linger in your house, baby. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe they pop over to the neighbors, give them a spook, and then go to the nearest abandoned prison disco for some real floatin' fun. But I won't touch them. And I have had plenty of opportunities to touch them throughout my life, and I don't. Because one time, a Ouija board worked. I was in 6th grade at a Friday afternoon birthday party. As an adult, you realize looking back, if someone throws their 12-year-old a Friday after school afternoon birthday party, that parent cares, but also you're not about to fuck up their weekend plans. Oh no. We are banging this party out because mama's got wet Fridays downtown and everybody's sleeping in on Saturday morning with leftover cake for breakfast, okay? So I'm at this party, and let's just say it was a choose-your-own-adventure, free-for-all with no rules kind of event. The chaperones weren't shappin'. So me and this other girl start exploring around the house. Perhaps me in my 30s can appreciate the plethora of adults that line that backyard in support of Budweiser and their friend's 12-year-old's birthday party. That is true friendship, I see that now, but as a 12-year-old, I'd say it was hardly an atmosphere conducive for being on the same wavelength of fun. So me and this girl, I wouldn't even call her a friend yet, because it was the beginning of 6th grade and everyone's coming from different elementary schools, so she was a strong acquaintance at best. Enough for me and her to wander this party in search of any kind of fun. Not that watching Don scream every time he shoots a horseshoe wasn't thrilling. We get it, Don. You grew up playing. The two of us found ourselves in the den, and there were so many board games. I'm talking an entire wall of them. And she suggests we play Ouija. I'm down because it didn't scare me at the time. I'm down because it's light out. The game says Hasbro on it. How bad could it be? We pull it out and we start asking random questions. It has numbers all over it, so you can ask shit like, when will I get married? How many kids will I have? When will I die? And we did. I don't remember those answers, and obviously they're still in the future time, cause bitch, I'm still here, kidless and ringless, just like Jesus Christ himself intended. And then we asked the Ouija board another question. I'll be honest with you, I was barely touching this thing. This little piece that moves with the magnifying glass so you can see the letters and the numbers. My fingers were like barely on it. Because even at 12, I gotta see if it's ghosts or if it's my new 6th grade friend talking to me. She asked it a question, and I remember it was a question that specifically required a numerical answer. And the magnifier starts spelling out, I love you, Rocky. Last I checked, that's not a number. And my question-asking friend only knows me as Raquel at that time. I'm obviously shook. I look up at her and I say nothing. I knew in my heart that I had barely been touching that thing. Who's Rocky? That's what she said. Who's Rocky? That's, my nickname. I'm Rocky. At the same time, we both snatched our hands off the little piece and then we pushed the whole Ouija board under the couch. Who was talking to us? Not to be the Sammy sweetheart of the afterlife, but who wrote the note? Who was talking to me? All these years later, I never touched a Ouija board. I recognize my Ouija privilege, that it didn't say red rum or I'm gonna slice and dice you, whatever. But there's a reason we aren't supposed to talk to entities. Why we aren't supposed to communicate with the other side through Ouija boards. So, watch who you wake up.
Duh.
Duh.
Rocket!
Welcome to the Rocky Rundown, where you get to learn a little bit about my week. Party God Squad, hello. Did you have a good week? I sure hope so. And if you're listening from Florida, I know it was a challenging week down there, and I hope you and your loved ones are safe and sound after dealing with Hurricane Ian. I was watching all these crazy videos of the storm. I'm talking buck wild, literally. Alligators in people's backyards, sharks on the highway. I even saw a video of a dolphin, who we know are highly intelligent beings, saving a dog from the ocean and then bringing that dog back to his family on their boat that they were taking out during Hurricane Ian. Isn't that the sweetest thing you ever heard? Animal heroes among us. Except none of those videos were real. It was either all from a movie or it was photoshopped. And what did I do from the comfort of my bed? Popped off in the group chat, of course. I start sending these tweets first thing in the morning to my friends like I'm breaking news herself. Boy, oh boy, was I humbled quickly. To think me, a liberal, could not only fall privy to fake news, but spread it. After being called out for the dolphin video, which, if I knew anything about wind pressure, I would have known the people wouldn't have taken their boat out during a hurricane. But after being called out, I really had to sit and evaluate what I did. Perhaps there's no hope for me, and I just need to re-download Facebook and go be with the other like-minded fake news spreaders where I belong. But maybe I'm not that far gone. At least I'm aware of my mistake. That means not all hope is lost, right? I just, in the future, have to look into whatever tweet I'm sharing. Research it. Make sure it's not from Free Willy. Make sure it's not going to cause a panic. And make sure I'm not spreading fake shit to my best friends. Because what if they had never seen that Dolphin Dog movie? And also, what if they weren't as well versed in wind as they are? And then each of them sent out those videos to 5 more people, and so on, causing panic up the Gulf and East Coasts alike. That's how easy it is to spread misinformation, people. Even I, a voter, succeeded at doing it. And an eye doctor told me I have perfect vision, and the dentist said no cavities. My blood pressure is 120/80, and here I am spreading fake news. I'm just saying, be mindful. I won't blame being tired on my mistake, because let's face it, this is America. Everybody's tired, but Farm Aid last week took a lot out of me. I woke up during an Instagram deep dive on someone, just nodding and scrolling, baby. If you saw how far back I was on this person's profile and how close my thumb was to making a real mistake, you would have had no choice but to empathize with me. Instagram should come up with a feature when you're deep dive scrolling that puts you in a mode where you aren't allowed to like this person's picture by accident, unless you do one of those robot tests. And when that becomes a thing on Instagram, on the update, remember you heard it here first. If you're listening to this episode right now, that means I've either gone to, am headed to, or I am at the Lizzo concert at Madison Square Garden. This will be my second time seeing her. The first was at one of those pier venues on the west side in 2019. General admission tickets, and I paid a mere $45. I will tell you this time, the tickets were not $45. I'm no oracle, but I do remember saying out loud after the show, next time Lizzo comes to New York, she's playing the Garden. I don't have to tell you, obviously Lizzo is a star, but if you have the chance to see her next time she's coming around, you must, especially if you've never seen her before. Maybe you'll even get to see her play the crystal flute. That brings us to Rocky's highest thoughts, my most stoned thoughts of the week. Number 1. Some people reap the pleasures that life has to offer simply because they're a joy to be around. Number 2, can ghosts and spirits read your mind, or can they only hear shit on the outside like us? Number 3, realistically, if in the womb we're attached to umbilical cords and that's how we ate and survived, could they invent something for adults where we could get attached to an umbilical cord-like cord thing and live in a replica womb? And just hang there for like 7 to 14 days, or nah. Number 4, why don't we just spell with numbers and letters combined? You'd shave 3 letters off the word thrice. My guest this week is comedian Jaclyn Lore-Edwards. Jaclyn's wild word was grateful, and I was beyond grateful to have her on as a guest because her story was absolutely unique, and of course, it was wild. If you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You can follow me at Wild Nights with Rocky on TikTok and Instagram, at Wild Nights Pod on Twitter. If you want to watch extended interviews with all of my guests, please subscribe on YouTube. You can support the show with your wallets for $2 or $5 a month on Patreon. A big shout out to anyone who's written or who will write a future review on Apple Podcasts. It really does make a difference. And now, please enjoy my Wild Nights conversation with Jaclyn Lore-Edwards. Jaclyn, welcome. Thank you for doing the podcast.
Of course, Rocky. Hello.
Hello. I'm so excited to have you on. It was just by, I guess we could call it chance how we met. Kind of.
Yeah.
It was in real time during one of my own wild nights that I haven't even shared on the podcast because some things just have to stay close to the chest. But you saw me in peak Rocky that night.
It's okay. You saw me at peak, stressed out at work.
And we won't, unless you want to, we won't say where you work because we don't want any like crazy stalkers coming by.
They're all going to stalk me.
They're all going to stalk you. We're going to refrain from saying that, but you work at a really, really cool place. And it was, or as vague as possible in this intro, but it was, I was glad that we were able to reconnect after that night and that I didn't make a complete ass of myself. And I'm happy to have you on the show. It was peak stress, but it felt like you were.
I'm excited to tell my story.
Well, you handled, even if you were at peak stress that night, you handled it very calm, cool, collective. I feel like that's kind of your vibe.
Yeah.
Very
laid back, but yes. I have had some wild nights.
Well, I am grateful that you're on the show to share your wild night story. So Jaclyn's wild word was grateful. Jaclyn, why don't you take it away and give us your wild night story?
All right, so I'm gonna set the scene.
Please.
The year is fall 2019. And I was a junior in college. Studying abroad in Copenhagen, Denmark.
Very cool.
And the apartment that I lived in, it was a mix between American students and Danish students. So I was living with 3 other American girls, a Danish girl, and a Danish boy. A key player in this story is the Danish boy, Uffe.
Uffe, okay.
Well, he's German, but he was a student in Denmark.
Got it.
He'll watch this and get mad at me if I call him Danish. But yeah, so when I moved into the apartment, Uffe wasn't there yet. It was just me and the girls, and we were there for about like 2 weeks before he came back because he was visiting his family in Germany. And all the things that I heard about Uffe were just insane. And I had this image in my head that he was going to be like a Schmidt-like character in my life.
So you're talking about Schmidt from New Girl.
Yes.
Anyone who doesn't know Schmidt, he's very witty, he's very well dressed, he's very quick, very cute.
Ladies man.
Yeah, Max Greenfield plays him.
Yes. But I met Uffe. He came to the apartment. And not what I was expecting, really. Pretty short for a guy living in Denmark. They're all like tall and blonde and beautiful there. He's beautiful. Uffe, you're beautiful. But yeah, so he immediately like took me under his wing. We became really good friends. He was kind of like a big brother figure to me there. And we would go out all the time together. And he had this signature move he would do that always got him laid. And it would be if we were out at like a club or a bar and he found a girl who was smaller than him, usually an American girl. He would like clear the dance floor, like get everybody to kind of like, spread out. And he would just scream at her to run towards him and run into his arms and do the dirty dancing lift. The small man could like lift them up like above his head. So he always got laid from that.
Wait, so women would fall for that? They would go running into his arms?
Yeah, like because me and my friends would hype them up. We would hype him up. We'd be like, do it. And then be like, oh, okay. And like go and run into his arms. so, you know, we were kind of wing women for him, I would
Okay.
say. But yeah, so once he like, you know, kind of had this reputation of like being, you know, a ladies' man, a charmer, things like that. But once me and him became like really good friends, and he realized he wasn't the only roommate in the apartment slinging dick, he became threatened by my game.
Really?
And yeah, and he created this scheme where he bought a notebook, and he was like, Jaclyn, we're going to keep this notebook in the apartment as a guest book, and every time we have an overnight guest, they have to leave a review and sign the guest book, and at the end of the semester we'll see who has the most reviews.
Okay. You weren't going to read it until then.
We read it after every entry.
Oh, after.
But we were like keeping a log of like all of the people.
Gotcha.
That would spend the night. And so Ufa off the bat gets like 3 entries, and all of his reviews are very like Airbnb style. Like the girls are like playing along.
Yeah, of
like
course.
they're like, oh, super like centrally located, close to the metro, like clean kitchen, friendly roommates, like very nice reviews like that. And I was getting antsy because like it was taking me a while to get a review. Like my game was kind of lacking, right?
And now you have this added pressure of this game that he's created. Yeah,
exactly. I'm like, I don't want us to look back at this book at the end of the semester and Jaclyn did not win.
Yeah.
So we have this one weekend where like half of the roommates are gone, because the way the apartment was set up was I shared a room with another American girl, and one of my close friends from the program, she shared a room with another girl too, and then Ufa had his own room. So our 2 roommates, me and my friend's roommates, were gone for the weekend. So we had the rooms for ourselves. So we knew it was like prime time to go out there and meet some people. So we called it the weekend of sex, and we had like a rule that we couldn't go home until all of us had someone to like bring home.
Yeah,
and it was like really ridiculous. We ended up losing Ufa because he went off with some group of girls. My roommate, she ended up like taking an electric scooter home alone.
Yeah.
And I was just out at the club, like still on the mission, because like
By
I
yourself?
needed to get my first like guest book entry. Also, it's like Denmark, and it's very like
it's pretty
non-threatening vibes there. Gotcha. Like I wasn't really concerned.
Okay.
But so I'm at this club though, and there's I just said that, and now I'm gonna say like something a little iffy. But I was at this club, and there was some guy like who kept trying to like dance with me and touch me, and I was just like not feeling it. And I made eye contact across the room with this like really tall, cute boy. He had curly hair.
Yeah.
And I was like, and he looked at me, and he saw me like kind of trying to get off this guy. And he like waved me over. And so I like go over to him, and he's like, like so good to like meet up with you, and like starts kind of like acting like we had a plan to see each other.
Okay.
So the guy would leave me alone. Good. And he was with like a group of girls, so I wasn't really threatened by that situation. So I'm like, oh yeah, thanks guys, whatever. And I start talking to the whole group of them. They're all friends, and we're dancing, whatever. And then me and the tall, curly-haired, cute boy go outside. We're just talking, whatever. And I'm like, okay, this is my guest book man. And I hook him in. I'm like, do you want to go back to my apartment? And he's like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And he's so like, I don't know, bewildered. Like he was just so shocked that I was so upfront. Because also in Denmark, it's like like this, they literally told us this during our orientation.
Yeah.
That they were like, ladies, don't feel like you're unattractive if men don't speak to you when you're out. Like they are not forward people here. Gotcha. And they will not make the first move on you. And
interesting.
Like they're never really expecting anything. Yeah. And they also like don't buy you drinks and don't do that type of thing, because it's like not the culture there to have like they just, that's like unequal to them.
You know, they like treat like not for nothing, but for they treat women equally. So if you go out with the guy, it's you split the oh, is that why they say going Dutch?
Oh, probably. Yeah, it's a very Scandinavian thing that the guys won't make the move.
We just figured that out together. Look at us.
Yeah, so wow. I didn't even put that together.
Me neither, but I was like, oh, maybe that's why, because then the women, because going on dates in America, you're like, is he gonna pay? Am I gonna pay? Are we gonna split? Like, what's the deal? Unless he like really just puts the car down right away, it can be like kind of this weird tango. But there, like, they just kind of know.
Yeah, they don't expect it. The women don't expect to get paid for.
Wow.
Yeah, so he wasn't expecting me to like make a move either.
Yeah.
So, and I found out as we're walking to my apartment, this is gonna sound really bad, but it's not, because
you're
that
safe
he's still in high school.
Oh.
Which Danish high school, before the police come for me and I get canceled. Danish high school lasts a lot longer than American high school. So the oldest you can be in Danish high school is like 20. I'm 20 at the time. He's like 19.
Okay, perfect.
But still, like, it kind of makes them like not develop at a later age, but have some of these.
Yeah, they're a little less mature, a little less life experience.
Yeah, exactly. So he's like really all like excited that he's going back to a girl's apartment, and he's like, you could bring me back to your apartment to murder me, and I could know that and still willingly go there. Like, he's really being like a lot. And I'm like, okay,
he's like jumping off to the side of you.
He's like diving in, and I was like, this is a little weird, but I need this guest book entry, so we're gonna go for it.
Yeah.
And we get back to my place, whatever, do the deed. And I didn't like know how to bring the guest book up really, so I just kind of like immediately talked about it. I was just like, by the way, me and my roommate have this thing, all of our guests like leave reviews in this book, do you want to sign it? And he's like all confused. He also doesn't speak English like that well.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, like, I'll sign this book. And he's like, really, like, I think it kind of threw him off. Like, he thought it was weird. He didn't know what to write about. So I hand him the book, and he's
was
like,
this in the morning, or was this in the morning, or was this in the
this evening? Was immediately after, in the evening.
After. Okay, gotcha.
Yes. Gotcha. I probably should have waited until the morning, but I was not confident that he was going to stay. It's
a learning experience, this review book. So you pass over the book, you finish doing it, you pass over the book.
Yeah. I pass over the book immediately. I'm like showing him the other entries. So he's like, and I'm like, these are my roommates, like some inspiration.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there and he's thinking for like a really long time. And he's like hiding the book from me, and he writes in it, and his handwriting is awful. And he writes in it, and then hands it back to me, and I read it, and it says, I'm sad but grateful. Great tits, though. And that was it. And I have no idea why he was sad. I have some idea maybe why he was grateful, but like that phrase was hilarious to me. That is
so funny.
And I was like, I can't wait to show my roommates this. So he leaves the next morning, and I'm like, guys, I have the best entry in the book. And they are all just like dying laughing by I'm sad but grateful. And like it becomes like a catchphrase, a meme in our apartment for like the rest of the semester. And I always thought that story was hilarious. And I remember during like lockdown 2020 COVID, I was trying to like, get some clout on TikTok. There was nothing else to do.
Of course.
So I start posting TikToks like very frequently, like telling stories like this one. And I posted one telling this story, and I go to bed, I wake up, it's like pretty viral in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I'm gonna have TikTok clout. And then I look at the comments, and it was just men who were so angry at me, like literally so mad that I like degraded this boy and like made him sign a gift book as if he was a part of a list or whatever the fuck. Like they were so mad.
That is so odd. The things people
was
choose to be mad
I explained
about.
everything in the video, how it was like my male roommate's idea. Yeah, why is this the thing that you are like decided to be mad about?
Yeah.
So but all the comments were like crazy, like threats, people saying they hoped I was like found in an alley, like crazy shit.
That feels like that kind of response feels like the punishment doesn't match the crime, because what you did was not a crime. Like you were just sharing your story.
Exactly.
And that just feels like so extra.
Exactly. Like it really made me so like, I don't know, like anxious and uncomfortable. I deleted the TikTok. I was like, I'm never sharing this story again, but I'm grateful I have an opportunity and a safe space to talk about it now.
Yes, of course you do. Oh my gosh. So this was just a few years ago. Did you exchange any kind of social media with this guy?
No, I don't even remember his name, which is awful.
That's poor thing. I write them all down just in case. I don't want to forget any. I'm like, I'm not going to forget any of these. If I hadn't made my own little personal list, I would never. Never remember.
But at the end of the semester, I didn't end up winning anyways. UFA really outnumbered me. So the Sad But Grateful was one of like 3 that I had in the book. And it was definitely the best one out of all of them though.
That is so good. I
won in a sense.
Yeah, I've never heard of anyone doing any kind of post-coital review on paper. That is so funny to me.
It's pretty like weird to ask someone to do that. Like, I think
it's
funny, if I was at a guy's house and he asked me to do that, like I would find it hilarious, but I would be like counting the pages of how many other people are in there.
Yeah. Oh my God. I think that's that would be like a cool idea for a book, like a one night stands book that you just leave, and it'll be like, you just make have a checklist. Did he want to wear condoms? Check. Was his bedroom clean? Check.
Yeah. Like all the criteria.
Yeah. Oh my God, that would be so funny. Little nightstand book. Well, it's a bummer that you didn't have any contact with him after that, but it's probably for the best.
It was for the best, for sure. He like didn't go to school the next day. He was like, I'm not gonna go to school. I was like, okay.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Did he lose his virginity with you think?
I don't know, because he was really excited, and he didn't seem very experienced. Like he was like, once we actually started, he was super nervous.
Yeah.
And he could have. We'll never know. If he listens to this podcast, whatever your name is.
Whatever your name is out there.
Reach out to me and tell me, please. I would love to know.
Go after Jaclyn's TikTok haters, please, young man.
Tell them that you weren't offended. You were grateful for the experience.
That's so funny. We'll never know the decoding. I'm sad but grateful. But I bet you he never forgot that again. Imagine if you did lose his virginity and then take his virginity rather, and the next person he has sex with after they're done, he's like, do you have the book?
He like thinks it's just a part of sex now. Yeah. He's like, so where do I sign?
Or he's like telling people, he's bringing his own book. He's like, could you write a review about me? He's telling his friends. They're like, no, people don't fucking do that, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You set the standard for him. Now, if that was in fall of 2019, were you able to finish out your semester in 2020 out there, or no?
So my semester was over December 2019.
Okay, so it was just a half
Yeah, it was a one semester, half a year. So when I went back to college in the spring, that was when we were sent home.
And where did you
go?
But
I was happy. I went to Wesleyan University.
Okay. Oh, that's that's really great school. So so you obviously didn't finish that out. So that must have been a really unique experience because you were a junior.
Yeah.
And then going into 2020, you were able to go back on campus for the fall?
Yeah, my senior year we were on campus because it's a pretty small school. It's like 3,000 people. So they had like rules in place to kind of like contain everyone. All of my classes were still over Zoom, even though we were living on campus.
Yeah.
That was kind of weird, but I was just happy like I was living in a house with my friends and like not at home alone. And there were a lot of like outdoor events that they did and stuff.
Yeah.
So it ended up being a pretty safe year. And then in April, everyone had to get the vaccine.
Yes.
And then like the last 3 weeks of senior year were just like insane because
Crazy.
everyone was making up for like a year and a half of not being able to do anything. And everyone was like dead on graduation. But
yeah, I believe it.
was
Yeah.
fun.
My birthday is at the end of April. And so everyone was started getting vaxxed in like early March throughout April. And I had an outdoor birthday party and it just was filled with people that were vaccinated or people were in mass that weren't vaccinated. But it was so many people and was one of those things where it was kind of the first big outdoor thing for people to go to. So people got really trashed. But I often did think during the pandemic, if I was in college, if somebody had ripped me away from my college experience, towards the end of my junior year, I would have been absolutely devastated because that was my most fun year of college by far. So it's a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, I was super sad when I was sent home, but like everyone in college was sad.
Of course.
I mean, it was like a struggle to be at home, and I was like a film major, so junior year is when you do a lot of production stuff. So I was kind of missing out on a lot of like the key education that I went to Wesleyan for.
And the hands-on aspect of it.
Yeah. And like we still made our films and stuff, but like my parents and my brother were in it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was kind of fun. Like we had something to do together.
Yeah.
That like I had to do for class, and my mom was being like so over dramatically acting in all of my little short films. Like she would put on this like fur coat she had and like stare directly into the camera and say her lines, and then we had to show it on Zoom in class, and I was just like, this is the best I got, you guys.
Yeah, this is what I'm working with.
Yeah.
And your brother, you're a twin, right?
Yes, I'm a twin.
That must have been kind of, so yes, you had to leave your college friends, but that must have been kind of cool to spend that time with him when you came back.
Yeah, like if I didn't have him there, I would have actually gone insane.
But
we're very close.
Good.
So it was fun to like I never thought we would live in the same place for that long again together. So that was pretty like special.
Yeah.
And our birthday's in the summer, so we like did an outdoor thing with our friends from high school, and like it was the first birthday we spent together in like a couple of years, so it was still like, you know, there were some good things, but
if you can find a little bit of the good during that disaster, then that's all that matters. That's like you're one of the more fortunate ones, so that's all that matters. And then so you made your way to New York City. And now you're doing stand-up. Did you start doing stand-up in college, or did you start when you moved to the city?
I did. I did stand-up throughout college. I was in an all like female group. Well, it was all non-cis males.
Got it.
Wesleyan, so it's like the umbrella terms.
Yes.
But it was it was a stand-up group, mostly women. And we would have shows like once every couple of months, and I did that throughout the time I was there. It's called the Hysterics. If anybody listening to this podcast wants to go to Wesleyan, join the Hysterics.
Join the Hysterics.
It's the best stand-up group on campus.
Yes.
In my humble opinion.
Are there multiple stand-up groups?
There's like 2 other ones.
Oh, gotcha. We don't talk about them.
If
you have anything to say about them, you can write a review in the book.
Exactly. But yeah, it was really cool to be in that group to start out, because we would meet once a week and just like go over what we call our funny list.
Yeah.
And they didn't have to be fully fleshed out jokes, but just things we thought were funny.
Yeah.
And then everybody would like help each other develop their ideas and all of that. So it definitely really helped me like get started in stand up in a solid way.
Yeah.
And then once I graduated, I wanted to continue doing it, but I didn't really know how. I was working in hostels for like a year.
Mm-hmm.
When I graduated, I moved to Colorado
Mm-hmm.
and I worked in hostel there. And then that was like a more naturey, like
Outdoorsy.
vibe.
Yeah.
There were some like stand-up opportunities, but I didn't really take hold of it because that just wasn't like what I was focused on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved to San Diego and I worked in, shout out to Gas Lamp Hostel
Shout
in
out to
San
them.
Diego in the Gas Lamp district downtown. And it's like a block away from two comedy clubs,
Okay.
the Madhouse Comedy Club and the American Comedy Co.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went and did open mics at those two clubs like almost every single night that I wasn't working.
Good for you.
Yeah, and I just got like really back into it and started to like it a lot again. And I did some shows and I was just like kind of like forgot that comedy was really what I really like to do and something that really made me happy. So once I was done with the hostel experience and I moved back to New Jersey, and I was like really just thinking about like what do I actually want to do with myself and my life. The thing that I kept thinking about like San Diego that I missed the most was just like going to the comedy clubs and like working on my sets and stuff. So luckily I have a friend in New York City that I could move in with, and I moved in with her within like 2 weeks of being back on the East Coast. And I immediately jumped back into the comedy scene, and it's been going pretty well so far. So
good.
I'm happy I made that decision. Yeah.
Good. So do you feel like now that you're on the comedy scene in New York that every week almost, especially with, I mean, things are open, we're open now, especially with that, do you feel like every week you get a little bit more momentum than the week before, or you build out your connections more and more?
Yeah, it's definitely very easy here to like build connections with people and network because there's so many people doing comedy.
Yeah.
And I've definitely felt like it's been a lot faster for me in terms of like getting on shows and meeting people and like feeling like I'm being productive and like building my set in a like good way.
Yeah.
But something that helped me a lot too was I did a stand-up class when I first moved here.
Yeah.
It was actually my mom's idea because she was like, you know, I want to like support you in this, whatever. So like as a birthday gift, she like got me this class.
Yeah.
And it was at the Manhattan Comedy School with Karen Bergreen, an awesome woman. The class had like 19 people, I think.
Yeah.
And it was like a funny mix. It was like half girls my age and in their 20s, and then half like older men, like 60 plus.
Wow. Yeah.
And it was so much fun. It was a 6-week course. So like really the thing that I took away from it the most was like it just forced me to write new material every single week.
Yeah. Kept you fresh.
Yeah. And so like then after the class, like diving even deeper into like the open mic scene and doing shows, I had like a lot more material to work with, which I think was really good. So yeah, that class definitely helped a lot. And now I have like friends who are also just starting out in comedy in the city who like I can go to mics with and like still work on material with. So that was definitely super helpful. I really liked that class.
And you also have the foundation coming from Wesleyan and your group of community, and that's what pushes people forward and having goals and meeting with each other. So you come from that background. You're not to say people have their reasons for whatever they do or the way whatever they feel, it's because of where they came from or how they were how they started out their careers, but you come from a more community-based background. And a lot of the time when it's community-based, you have people lifting you up, you have people keeping you accountable, and you have people you don't want to let down. So working, you know, going to those mics with people and having that network of people that you met through that class must have just been, like you said, another leg up.
Yeah, it was definitely something I feel like I missed since I graduated from Wesleyan, because like my creativity like fuels from collaboration. And so having like supportive friends and people who I can bounce jokes off of and who have, you know, like different brains than me who could see it in a new perspective is so helpful.
Yeah. And for you to be able to take criticism, or even not even criticism, suggestions from other people whose opinions and backgrounds are different than yours, that's the only way to grow, or one of the only ways to grow. Now, Jaclyn, you have a couple of shows coming up. Why don't you let everybody know where those are at in New York?
I do. Yes, I have a show on October 6th at 8 p.m. It is 222 Avenue B, New York, New York. The show is called The Roost.
The Roost, got it.
And then I have, another show October 28th at, I'm pretty sure it is Broadway Comedy Club.
Beautiful, right in Midtown.
Yeah. October 28th at Broadway.
Amazing. Well, Jaclyn, can you give everybody your social media so they can follow you, find you, figure out what's going on next? You know, I don't know if you're still doing your review book, but maybe there's somebody out there who, you know, might want to leave a positive review in the future. They know where to go.
I love positive reviews of all kinds.
Yes.
So
in any capacity.
Exactly. My Instagram is JackSoWack. It's JackSoWack. And my TikTok is the same. It just has an underscore at the end. So JackSoWack_. And those are my main social medias.
Awesome.
I post a lot of my stand-up on there. So
amazing. Well, listen, if I see anybody in your TikTok comments saying any bullshit, I am coming after them, because
we will have an army coming back at them from this podcast.
They don't even know who they're messing with. You have community left and right, so you have nothing to worry about. So Jaclyn, I am so happy you did the podcast. It was an awesome story. I'm about to go to Rite Aid right now and buy my own little review notebook.
Oh, good. It's a great idea for anyone to have.
It's a great idea. And if anybody listening has a review notebook, please send in those reviews to the show, because I will read them. And I might even call Jaclyn back in to be a correspondent for that segment.
Oh, so I would love that.
Let's hear what the people have to say. But Jaclyn, I really, really appreciate you doing the show. This was such a pleasure.
Thank you.
You got it. And we'll talk soon, okay?
Okay, yeah. Bye, Rocky.
Bye.